Hello there. Today I'll share my journey on completing a 200-hour yoga teacher training course in Bali House of Om School. So, first, why yoga? Why yoga teacher training? What was the experience like? What were the challenges? What I'm taking out of the experiences, and generally, how do you value my experience? First of all, why yoga? Yoga for me has been a practice of stretching for the most of my life. But quite recently, a few years ago, through the influence of my girlfriend, I discovered yoga as a path of spiritual practice. I noticed that it affects my well being as I attended multiple classes. I got to explore how I find myself calmer, how I find myself being less stressed, and also having the mind state of almost meditative mind state. So as I was curious to learn more about yoga, around that time, we decided together with my partner to travel to Asia. And there she booked a yoga teacher training at the House of Om studio. And I was thinking, should I become yoga teacher, like complete the 200-hour teacher training? Because I wasn't sure whether I feel confident enough to become a yoga teacher. But then, after having multiple conversations with people around and my girlfriend, I found out that I can simply deepen my practice. I can also learn more about teaching methodology and other subjects that I'm curious about. And thus, I decided to, after all, give it a try and apply for a scholarship at House of Bali. It was the mansion yoga teacher training. After a bit of communication back and forward, last minute I received a scholarship, and since we were together with my partner, we were already on the go. I ended up in Bali doing my yoga teacher training. So, what was the experience like? Experience in 200 yoga teacher training is kind of the tip of the iceberg. You're getting the essentials, and if you're curious to learn more, then you dive into the another 300-hour training, which together compounds into 500 hours. So, this is kind of introduction of becoming a yoga teacher and into the yoga world. For those who want to dive deeper in a way from just attending the classes or doing some readings by themselves. What I found there in the first week, we had hatha styles, yoga flows. Yoga flows, I mean by asanas, it means poses. And hatha yoga style has long halls and holding poses for longer periods of time, while also it is more calming, returning to yourself practice. I mean, all of the asanas are essentially to returning to yourself, but hatha has the calming down element, while vinyasa or ashtanga has the also heat coming with the practice. With the first week, we also learn on the first week we also learn some basics of human anatomy, about the and we learn more vocabulary about how body moves, about muscles, and how it works. For example, flexion and extension, and also mobility. And we could have conversations about what does this yoga pose does to the body, which I find pretty useful and very interesting. On the second week, we dived in more deeper into vinyasa flows that are more, let's say, flowy, requires more strength, but not as much as Ashtanga. Poses are held for less time, sometimes just a few breaths, other times just a breath or as a transition. And we learn more about, we dove deeper into the philosophy behind yoga. Where did it originate from, and how it evolved through time, some of the teachings or the wisdom that comes with it about the nature of reality. And this is where, in these classes of yoga philosophy, you learn that yoga is not only asanas, it's also philosophy, wisdom behind it. It's also ethics that come with it, ethics directed inwards, yamas, and to others, niyamas. And I learned that there's more than asanas, and it's connected to the bigger world of spiritual practices. And that was also something that really satisfied my curiosity, my hunger for what is the yoga about. Third week was mostly Ashtanga practices. So we got to try some of the Ashtanga. That was Patabjoyas, I think, lineage, which was the primary sequences, which are essentially there are sequences of 30 plus poses in different layers, and we did half of them, and it's quite physically demanding and quite physically challenging. So it was the most challenging part of the yoga teacher training, while also we prepared for our exams, theoretical by reviewing the philosophy classes and anatomy questions while also preparing our flows for the practical exam, which was teaching a full class by yourself for two other students. And here I could just step over into what I took from the experience as a whole. And one of the things was definitely this confidence boost that I can teach a class. I have enough knowledge to apply it, and there's a safe environment for me to try it out and to simply lead a class. That was fascinating for me. What I took from the yoga teacher training was the again satisfied hunger for what is the yoga philosophy behind yoga asanas. What is not only wisdom and history, but also what are the breathing exercises, for example, connected to that? What are the preparation for asanas and other different ways of meditation? What is yoga nidra, yogic sleep, and Ayurveda? So, what I really took from this yoga teacher training at House of Home was seeing yoga as holistic, seeing it holistically. So, getting some introductory courses on Ayurveda, learning more about pranayama, also Shatkarma, which are the cleansing exercises preparing you for the asanas in a way, how the prana, life energy moves through your body, a bit of about chakras and other things, which I found a bit woo, but at the same time, I understand it's part of the culture and I agreed it in. And some of the knowledge has been useful already for me. For example, listening to different frequency music and exploring how essentially it is built for chakras, but how my body reacts to different frequency music or colors. If I continue on, what I took from yoga teacher training was also friendship. So I met a lot of people from different continents that were all interested in yogic path, and that was just very beautiful place to learn together with them, while also my partner attended this yoga teacher training together with me, or we ended up doing the same one, which was against our preference. And we still were, we learned how to give each other space while we are both in the same learning environment. Let's say we were striving towards that. Also, we learned more how to communicate more compassionately and efficiently in a space where you cannot really step away from the space. You're kind of tied to the same environment since you both want to be here. At the same time, it was very beautiful and bonding experience to see how my partner learns all these things. We get to learn more vocabulary, some quirky terms. For example, we came up with kiss asanas, or just the whole experience itself was very beautiful and bonding. But also, lots of challenges came with it. So what I'm taking out is also improved relationship in a way. What also I'm taking is the certification. Since I passed the exams and I registered in the system, which was some extra fee, I am now equipped with all the credentials to teach in yoga studios or online or in person. And this is quite also groundbreaking for me since there was so much doubt about whether I am, what does it take to teach a class or on what or not to teach a class. When is it enough that I acquired my skills and experience to teach a class? Of course, I need more experience to teach a class because I taught only one class, but I'm on my way, and it's very fascinating way. Generally, I'm very glad and grateful for the experience, for the House of Om to giving me scholarship, and then also satisfying my hunger for knowledge from philosophy to history to breathing exercises, different styles of building asanas flows, meeting new people, and all of that happening in a tropical climate on the background, having lots of heat while also lots of rain since it was becoming the rain season. It has been a magical experience that I am grateful to have experienced. Yes. So I hope that satisfies some of the questions. If some people just ask about where how was the experience, so I hope that answers most of the questions. If not, feel free to contact me. And thank you for watching this. Namaste.